Alright, before we start this paper, what I've done on the front page is I've written down the grade boundaries that we've been using with the work that we've been doing since January to give us some idea about how far we need to get through this paper, getting things correct in order to be accessing the grades that we want. So you see here that in order to get a G, you need to get 20 marks on this paper at least. And here I've totaled up as I'm going. The first questions are worth 10 marks, the next one is worth 4, so that's 14 altogether. The next one's worth 5, so those 3 together make 19. So we need to get to question 4 and get it right in order to make a G accessible. Same thing, you need 30 for an F. If you keep going, that means you need to get to question 6 with everything right, and that would get you a grade F and so on. And I've marked those into the paper as we work through it. So that's the front page. Page 2, we've looked at this. This is just information that you may or may not need to use while answering this paper. First part is telling you the formula for the area of a trapezium. That's what your trapezium looks like. We'll come back to that if we need to use it, and similarly the same thing for the volume of a prism. Let's get stuck into these questions then. Okay, with the first question there, it's fairly standard, comes up quite a lot. Write down in words the number 35276. The easiest way to do this, if you can't quite get your head around reading it straight off, is to cover it up and work your way from the rightmost number back. So that's the number 6. Now it's 76. Now it's 276. Now it's 5,276. And now it's 35,276. So that's what they need you to write. 35,276. Okay, so that's 35,276. Part 2, write down in figures the number 16,340. So that will be 16,340. Okay, B. Use the following list of numbers. Write down 2 numbers that add up to 90. So the easiest thing here is to look for pairs of numbers where the unit digits, those 2 digits, will add up to 90. So for example, 8 and 6 doesn't add up to 10 with a 0, so it won't be that. But 6 and 4 do, so you've got 64, 74, those 2 add up to 80, not 90. We've got, let's have a look, 52 and 28, the 2 and the 8 will give us a 0, but that again will give us 70, 80. So where are our numbers going to come from? 62 and 28. 8 and 2 will add up to 0. 6 and 2 give me 80. So 62 add 20 would be 82. Add another 8 would be 90. So it's going to be 28 and 62. The number that is the difference between 67 and 24, again, if you take 4 from 7, it ends in a 3. So you're looking for the number there that ends in a 3. There's only one of them, which is 43. A multiple of 6 is a number that lives in the 6 times table. 28 doesn't, 16 doesn't. 42 does. 7 6s are 42. So 42 is the answer to that. The answer when 40 is divided by 5, again if you go through the 5 times table, 5 8s are 40. So the answer to that is going to be 8. The square of 8 is what you get when you multiply 8 by itself. 8 8s are 64. Write down a factor of 24 which is between 7 and 11. Factors of 24 are numbers that go into 24 exactly, and 8 goes into 24 3 times, and 8 is in the list. So the factor of 24 between 7 and 11 is 8. Write down 7,682 correct to the nearest 10. Well, the nearest 10 is the 8 column, so it means you're either going to be writing your answer as 7,680 or 7,690. 82 is closer to 80, so it's going to be 7680. Connect to the nearest 1,000. The 7 is in the thousands column, so your answer is either going to be 7,000 or 8,000. Because of the 682, it's nearer to 8,000. So 8,000 is your answer. So that's question 1. Question 2, this comes up, as you know, very regularly. The important thing here is that they're metric units. So you're not going to have answers of miles or feet, inches, stones. They all have to be metric. So the weight of 10 sheets of paper, well, metric weight would be grams, kilograms, milligrams. 10 sheets of paper aren't going to be very heavy, so it's going to be grams. So you'd either write G or grams. The volume of tea in a cup, well, volume of liquid, you would either use litres or milliliters. The thing to remember here would be a can of Coke or something like that would be in milliliters, so tea would be similar to that, so we put milliliters, ml for that. Height of a building, well, that's distance, so it's either going to be meters or kilometers. A building isn't going to be measured in kilometers, it's going to be measured in meters, so that's going to be m. And the area of the ceiling, if it's area, it would be meters squared for area. Question 3. Now, to make this symmetrical, the easiest thing to do is to work with the straight lines first of all. That point there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares to the left of the mirror line, so its reflection would be 5 squares to the right of the mirror line, which would be there. So that first part, make sure you use a ruler in the exam and use a pencil in case you go wrong. Now the next point is this part here, which is 2 squares to the left, so that would be 2 squares to the right, and let's join the straight part of that together. And then for the curved part, you just need to try and copy it in a way that it looks very similar. So it's going to dip just below that, and then it's going to come through like that and up to there like that. And that's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't matter. The fact that you've got the straight lines correct and you've got the curve bending in the same direction as it is there would be good enough to earn you the marks. Okay, draw all the lines of symmetry on each of the following diagrams. We got 3 marks for this. Now for the first one, you can see that you'll have a reflection there. You may be tempted to put one across as well, to fold that way, but because that's got a circle and that hasn't, that won't be the case. So there's only one line of symmetry on that shape, and that's going to go vertically through the shape. Okay, so that cuts that exactly in half. Now for this shape, there's going to be more than one line of symmetry because this is worth 3 marks. So hopefully you can see there that you're going to have a vertical line of symmetry. You're also going to have a horizontal line of symmetry. But if you turn it that way as well, you should be able to see that there are lines of symmetry coming through these 2 diagonals as well. So you need to get those in as well in order to get your full marks. So those are the lines of symmetry that you need on there for the full marks. Okay, question 4, probability scales. A box contains the following 8 cards which are identical except for the numbers written on them. One card is chosen at random from the box. On the probability scale shown below, mark the points A, B and C where. A is the probability that the chosen card has the number 2 on it. Well, there are 2 cards with 2 out of 8 in total. So 2 out of 8, hopefully you recognise that that's the same as a quarter. So the chances of you getting that would be a quarter. So on this scale, 0, 1, that would be a half, and a quarter is halfway between 0 and a half. So I would mark A in there. And don't write A onto the scale, put a mark and write it underneath. B is the probability that the chosen card has the number 4 on it. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 for that. So 5 out of 8 is going to be around about there, I would have thought. So B, you would mark there. And C is the probability that the chosen card has a number less than 5. Well, you can see there that all the numbers on the card are less than 5, so that's going to be certain. So your C is going to be there. Okay, so A, chances of that happening are 1 in 4 or a quarter, or 2 out of 8, which is there, 5 out of 8, and certain. Right, question 5. The chart shows the number of hours of sunshine recorded in Cardiff and Bangor on 5 days. The light grey columns are Cardiff and the black columns are Bangor. The vertical scale here is the number of hours of sunshine, and you can see that the columns describe each day of the week. So on which day did Cardiff and Bangor have the same number of hours of sunshine? Well, we'd be looking for the column grey and black columns to be the same height, which you can see clearly is Wednesday. So your answer to that would be Wednesday. On how many days was the number of hours of sunshine in Bangor less than 8? So here's 8. Bangor is the black columns, so it's not on Monday, but every other day of the week Bangor is less than that, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 days. On how many days was there more sunshine, more hours of sunshine in Cardiff than in Bangor? So for that to happen, the Cardiff bar would be higher than the Bangor bar. So the Cardiff bar, no, 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 yes. So there's only one day where the Cardiff bar is higher than the Bangor bar. So one day. What was the total number of hours of sunshine in Bangor over the 5 days? So we need to total up now. For Monday there were 9 hours. On Tuesday there were 6. On Wednesday there were 4. On Thursday there were 5. And on Friday there were 7. So we've got 9, 15, 19, 24, 31 hours. 31 hours, yeah. And then for E, what was the median number of hours of sunshine in Cardiff over the 5 days? So to find the median, we need to find the middle. So let's put these in order. So in Cardiff, the worst day was Thursday, which had 3. That was followed by Wednesday, which had 4. That was followed by Tuesday, which had 5. That was followed by Monday, which had 8. And Friday had 9. So that's the 5 days in order. The middle is 5. So the median, 5. Okay, so that's question 5. Okay, we're on to question 6 now, and you can see here that if we can get this one right, we've hitting our F grade. Calculate 124 multiplied by 36. Alright, well the way that most of you are now doing this is with the sort of box method. So let's just set that up here. Oops, I haven't done enough boxes. Okay, and then you do little diagonals through each box like that. That's going to be 124, and that's going to be 36. And what you then do is you multiply each little pair of numbers into that box. So we're going to have here, for this box, 4 times 3 is 12. For this box, 4 times 6, 24. 2 times 3 is 6, which you'd write as 0, 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 1 times 3 is 0, 3. And 1 times 6 is 0, 6. So that's all the multiplication part of it. What you then have to do is add up your totals. So if I just do that in a different color to make it clear for you. So this first digit here will be 4 in that diagonal. In this diagonal you've got 2 and 2 and 2 is 6. In this diagonal 6 and 6 is 12, 13, 14. 4 down, and then you need to carry the 1 over into the next diagonal, which is going to be 3 add 1, which is 4, and then 0. And then you read your answer off in that direction. So 124 times 36 will be 4, 4, 6, 4. And that's done. For those of you that use the more traditional method, if I just do this over here, what you will be doing is 124 times 36. When you multiply them by 6, you multiply by unit, so you don't need to add anything. So you've got 4 6s, 24, 4 down, carry 2, 2 6s are 12, add 2, 14, 4 down, carry 1, 1 6 is 6, add 1 is 7. Then when you come to multiply by the 3, that's in fact 30, so you have to add a 0. 3 4s are 12, 3 2s are 6, add 1 is 7, 1 3 is 3. And then you do your adding up here. 4 add 0 is 4, 4 add 2 is 6, 7 and 7 is 14, 4 down, carry 1, 3 add 1 is 4. So again, 4 4 6 4. Okay, so either of those methods, whichever you're most comfortable with. And B, calculate 2/5 of 40. Well, the first thing you do is find 1/5 by doing 40 divided by 4. So 1/5 of 40 is 40 divided by 5, sorry, I don't know why I said 4. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 1/5 is 8. You want 2/5, so you want 2 lots of 8. Which is 16. So 1/5 of 40 is 8, so 2/5 of 40, 2 lots of 8, 16. 6% of 400, find 1% by dividing by 100, so 400 divided by 100 would be 4. So 1% is 4, so 6% is 6 lots of 4, which is 24. So there we are, that's our F grade. When you're finding fractions of, you divide first of all to find 1/5 or 1/6 or 1/8, whatever it is. With percentages, you divide by 100 to find 1%, and then multiply by however many percents you need. Okay, so moving further on towards our next grade, which will be an E. Right, so with this one now, it's a measurement question. They want to know that you understand how to use a protractor, how to use a ruler, and whether or not you know what parallel and perpendicular mean. So measure the length of DE. DE is the line that joins D to E. So this is the line that they need you to measure, and they expect you to measure it accurately. So you put the 0 of your ruler onto one corner, and then you read off the other. Okay, and you should be able to see that that is not exactly 8, but 8.2. Okay, so they would be looking for you to get it as accurate as that. Name the line which is parallel to CD. Well, a line that is parallel to CD would be one that's moving in exactly the same direction as it. So it isn't BE. So if you move across the shape, you should see there that FE is moving in exactly the same direction as DE. So EF or FE describe that line. Perpendicular to AC, this is AC, so you want a line that is right angles to it. If you've got a set square, then you could just line it up, but you should be able to see anyway that at right angles to that is BE. Okay, then they want you to measure the size of BFE. So you've got to know where to put the center of your angle measure, your protractor. BFE is the angle that takes you from B to F to E. So it's this angle, or the middle letter tells you there. So we want to measure that angle there. Now, with your angle measurer, you need to put the center, okay, the cross, on the corner of that angle there. So the cross is going to go to F, and then you need to line the 0 up with one of the sides. So I'm going to line the 0 up with B there. Now that 0, you can see I'm moving in this direction to find that angle, so I'm going to be reading off 10, 20, 30, the inside scale, and hopefully you can see just about that it's going to be 50, between 50 and 60. You could extend it, but I would say that's going to be 54, 55 degrees would get you the mark, but I think accurately it's 54 degrees. And then BCD, to go from B to C to D, it's this angle. C is the middle letter. So again, you get your center and you line your center up with C, and then you need to line the 0 up with one of the sides. So if I line the 0 up there, then I'm going to be traveling in this direction 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on, and that's going to be between 150 and 160, and my call there is 165. And as I said to you when we were practicing these in class, try and look at the size of the angle and estimate to know whether or not your answers are sensible. Okay, and 165, that seems about right. It's not quite a straight line, but it's not far off a straight line. It's bigger than 90 degrees, and similarly this one is less than 90 degrees, so if I got an answer of 160 or something, then my alarm bell should be ringing. So that's 7A. 7B. Okay, that looks like a man's leg with his knee bent, which hopefully is what you use to think, oh, that's a reflex. Or the idea of the doctor knocking your knee with a hammer. It's a reflex angle. It's bigger than 180, less than 360. By shading 4 squares, complete the shaded pattern below so that AB is the line of symmetry. That means that every shaded square has to have an exact copy of it as the other side of the mirror line. So that one's okay, it's got that. That one needs to have one shaded in there. That one needs to have one shaded in there. And that one needs to reflect back that side. And these two here, that one has been reflected, that one hasn't. It's one in there. So those 4 squares there make it symmetrical about AB. Okay, and hopefully you can see that now. Maybe if I'd used a pencil and shaded it in a bit better, then that would have helped. So that's question 7. Question 8 is a nets question, and what's happening here is that this shape has been cut and folded out flat. So the top triangular corner has been drawn for you. You need to repeat that down there, and probably the easiest way to do it would be to measure that distance there. It's 2.5, so you would want that to be 2.5 down the other side as well. So you can see there that I'm lining up the point so it goes through there, and I've measured 2.5 centimeters to there, and then I'll join that up, make sure I'm on the screen. So that goes there like that, and that goes there like that. So that's the two triangular sides. Now I need to draw this side here, and then the same one will come across here. So this one, that 10 centimeter side is there, so this rectangle is going to have a 4 centimeter distance coming out there and there. So if I measure 4 centimeters there and another 4 centimeters there and join those together, that'll be that side, and then the other side of the triangular prism will have exactly the same distance. So I've measured 4 centimeters there, I'm going to repeat that up here. There's the 4, back to 0. So that's your triangular prism and the net of it, and that should now bring us into the E grade ranks. Question 9. Right, we've got an algebra question here. A rectangle is formed using 6 identical square tiles. The length of each square tile is x centimeters. So the length of the rectangle will be, well, that will be a distance of x, that will be a distance of x, and that will be a distance of x. So in total, we've got x at x at x, or 3x. The width, well, because it's square, that means that that's x and that's x too. So we've got x at x, which is 2x. The length of the rectangle is 15 centimeters. What is the value of x? So that's telling me that those 3x there actually come to 15. So you can form an equation like that. What joins the 3 to the x? A times. So you have to do the opposite of multiplying by 3, which is dividing by 3, which in algebra we write like that. 15 divided by 3 is 5 centimeters. You could do it just by intuition. You probably don't need to form an equation to get that. Nevertheless, you do need to know how to work out that x is 5 centimeters. Question 10. Parallelogram. Draw a parallelogram which has sides of 10 and 7 and an angle of 55 degrees. Now before I draw this accurately, I'm just going to draw a little sketch to make sure I'm happy with what on earth this will look like. So parallelogram is a shape with 2 pairs of parallel sides. So my parallelogram, I'm going to draw 10 centimeters that way. So these sides are going to be 7 centimeters. The angle of 55 means that that angle in there is going to be 55, but it also means that this angle here has got to be 55 too. So that's the shape that I've got to draw. So on my page, I'll draw it down here, and I'll start 0 over here because I'm going to slope it that way. So that's my bottom, and that's 10 centimeters. Now I need to get my 55 degrees. So center there, the 0 lines up with the line that I've just drawn. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I need the 55 degrees to go that way, sorry. So the center cross is going to go there, and my 0 is over here. So 55 degrees, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 55 degrees is there, and this line needs to be 7 centimeters. So the 0 of my ruler is on the corner, the ruler lines up with the angle I've just measured, and 7 centimeters takes me to there. Now I need to draw this angle, this line here, so I've got another 55 degree angle to draw. Center of the protractor now goes at the other end of the line, and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I've lined that up with 0. My 55 degrees is going to be there. Again, put the 0 of your ruler on the corner of the first line. Line your ruler up with the dot that you just made, and you need to go up to 7 centimeters, which is there, and then join the fourth side together. So that's 7 centimeters, that's 55 degrees, and that one out there is also 55 degrees. Okay, so those are the first 10 questions. I'll stop recording there and then start again for the rest.